Comforting facts that will make your day. In movies where they use dogs as actors, editors have to commonly CGI another tail on the dog because they won't stop wagging it. Because guinea pigs are considered very social animals, it is illegal and considered animal abuse in Switzerland to own just one. All of the cardigans Mr. Rogers wore on camera were knit by his mother. Bees take naps in flowers. This penguin that lives in Norway was actually recently officially knighted. Otters hold each other's hands when they sleep so that their mate won't float away. Van Gogh didn't start painting until his late 20s. Whatever you're going through in life right now, it's not gonna last forever. Follow for more.
How rare is your body? Part 2. Less than 6% of people can vibrate their eyes and rapidly shake them back and forth. 33% of people have an astigmatism. This makes lights look blurry and fuzzy, like in this photo. 16% of people can make a roaring noise with their jaw. They can control a muscle that most people can't, and it makes a loud roar. 14% of people don't have a palmaris longus, and this is the muscle that sticks out when you flex your hand like this. Only about 33% of people can actually whistle, and unfortunately, I'm not one of them. Next, less than 3% of people have an X on both their palms, and it's said to be a sign of strong character. Finally, only 11% of people have naturally curly hair, so if this is you, consider yourself rare. Now comment which ones you have.
Bro, I gotta ask, what is the most wholesome animal on earth? Brother, if you wanted a manatee video, you could have just asked. Did you know when alligators and manatees cross paths underwater, the alligators seem to let them pass? A prehistoric sledgehammer and they give manatees the right of way. That's how you know you got motion in the ocean. There's never been a record of a manatee attacking a human, and it might be because it's literally physically impossible. One is because their teeth are way in their mouths, and their molars designed for grinding grass, not biting. You know, if you ever get bit by a manatee, that means you were in his throat, and if you were, that means this law was for you. Some things don't need exploring Columbus. But also, some scientists think that because adult manatees have no predators and because they don't have to fight each other over who eats what grass, there's a lot of talk that the sea squishy is mentally incapable of feeling aggression. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I will say 3 things. 1, they don't just eat grass, they'll go pescatarian if the opportunity presents itself. 2, as fast as you think manatees are, they're faster. It might not be with malicious intent, but 1,200 pounds of anything moving like that is definitely cause to pause. And 3, last year a popular manatee named Hugh, past tense after essentially explicit interaction with a bigger male named Buffett, tore him open like a reverse butt birth. The catch: Buffett was his brother. Yeah, that's pretty bad, but did you know manatees are also closely related to my favorite animal? They even got the same nail tech. So yeah, I'm a little biased, so I'm gonna let it slide. Especially since I'm pretty sure it wasn't aggression, but just a dangerous lack of awareness. But yeah, God bless this water blimp, and R.I.P. Hugh.
Facts that I wish I didn't know. When you die, the last thing to go is your hearing. So as all your other mortal sensations are leaving this world, the last thing you're ever going to experience are the sounds going on around you, which very well could be like your family members crying or cheering. By the year 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. When pigs get a cold, like a cough, very often they will shoot their intestines out of their anus, and farmers have to like stuff it back in.
How rare is your body? Only 1% of people can wiggle their ears voluntarily, and only 10% of people have a small hole above their ear. Do you have one? Only 20% of people can actually flare their nostrils. I thought everyone could do it. Next, only 2% of people have Norton's toe, where the second toe is longer than the big toe. Those are some weird toes. And finally, around 20% of people have a rare condition where they can taste colors and see sound. I guess tasting the rainbow could be a real thing.
People born with crazy mutations. This is Johnny Eck. He had a condition called caudal regression syndrome, which basically meant he had no lower body. He worked as a sideshow performer in circuses back in 1930, and he actually played Goonie Bird in the original Tarzan movie.
This is how rare your body is actually compared to the rest of the world. Only about 10% of people have what is called Morton's toe. This is when your big toe is shorter than the one next to it, and it's said said that it may actually have an advantage in athletics. Only 10% of people also have what is called Darwin's turbitole. It's this little bump on the outside of your ear. People who have this are better at sensing voice tonality. Next one, I thought everyone could do, but apparently only 30% of people could flare their nostrils. Go ahead and try it. There's a good chance you might not be able to do this. This one's super. Only 5% of people have their tongues tied to their mouth. Whoa. Only 26% of people have a narrator in their head. Most people don't have a voice inside their head when they think. Less than 1% of people have unbreakable bones inside of them. That's literally superhuman. Lastly, only 35% of people are able to gleek. This is when you can shoot a stream of saliva from under your tongue.
Creepy facts I bet you didn't know, part 1. Doctors originally invented the chainsaw for childbirth. 4,400 unidentified bodies are found every single year. There's over 18.6 million vacant homes in the United States. In 1800, dentures were made from the teeth of the deceased. The Devil's Bible is a real thing, it's called the Codex Gigas.
These are dark web stories that you were never supposed to know, but I'm telling you anyways. Part 4. Today's story, Locked In. Warning, today's video will discuss very brutal and graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised. One day there was a hacker who had never been on the dark web before and wanted to explore it for himself. So when he started exploring the dark web, he joined a random chat room with strangers in which one of the strangers sent him a link. So the hacker, thinking he knows what he's doing, clicks the link. And that link sent him straight to a red room. And basically what a red room is it's a live stream where people are brutally tortured and murdered. But not just that, the person watching the live stream pays tons of money to see the person behind the screen get brutally tortured or murdered the way they want it to be. The boy then freaked out and threatened to tell the cops they didn't stop. And when he tried to leave the site, the X in the corner wasn't working. One of the other watchers then chimed in and said, "Logan, you can't leave." Crazy thing was, his name is Logan, but he never told anyone that.
The weirdest things found underwater, part 1. On June 18th, 2021, a woman named Jennifer Dowker was diving in the Sheboygan River in Michigan when she found a stuffed bottle. Inside it was a letter from 1926 which stated, "Will the person who finds this bottle return this paper to George Morrow in Sheboygan, Michigan, and tell where it was found." Jennifer then posted it on social media and it went viral. After some time, George Morrow's daughter saw it and contacted her and said that her dad must have placed the message in the bottle when he was just 18 years old. And in 1944, a boy from Estonia noticed tank tracks leading into a lake, and he saw air bubbles rising to the surface for 2 months straight. He waited for a while, but then moved on. However, decades later, he suddenly remembered that incident and told others about his memories, including the leader of the War History Club. This led to a recovery in 2000 of a Soviet T-34 World War II tank, which had been underwater since 1944.
I was not prepared for how tragic this documentary was. It's called Six Schizophrenic Brothers, and it's about the Galvin family, which is a family with 12 children where 6 of the 12 kids were diagnosed with schizophrenia. Also, I cover a lot of dark stuff on this page and have lots of documentary recs, so you should follow along. Life in the Galvin household was absolute chaos. One by one, half of the siblings started exhibiting really scary symptoms of schizophrenia, like delusions and extreme violence. Like one of them thought they were Paul McCartney and the other one thought they were Jesus. It started with Don, the oldest sibling, who started experiencing these symptoms when he was in his 20s, but after Don, it was like dominoes falling, and each kid started being diagnosed younger and younger. I think they said Peter was like 14 when he started having symptoms. And as this is happening, it's like the 60s and 70s and 80s when we still don't really know anything about schizophrenia. So doctors for the longest time thought it was the mother that was triggering this in all of her sons. But now we know that most likely these boys all had a gene for schizophrenia that was triggered by stress. And one of the most devastating things they say in this documentary is that the oldest 3 sons used to go on these trips with this one priest in town. And now with everything we know about the church and the scandals, it's suggested that the boys were abused, and that was the thing that triggered the gene inside of them. Anyways, there's so much more to it. They even have some of the schizophrenic brothers talk, and mostly the documentary centers on the youngest sister who is still taking care of everyone today. So I definitely recommend watching it.
Okay, I thought this was like the stuff of the dark web, but this story is actually going to make its way to the big screen because I just watched the trailer. So you know, like the Terrifier 2, the Terrifier 3, absolutely horrifying, but if you're a horror fan like I am, you love it. So it's the same folks who created those films, they're behind the new film called Stream. Try to picture this with me. It basically takes place in a remote hotel. There is like some sort of seedy event going on where they've basically gamified a hunt for people. These are like people who are just roaming the building. That as a concept is some sinister stuff. And from what I could see from the trailer, while this is all going down, it's like somebody is watching this. Like, it's live. And it seems sick, but there's a very real possibility to some of the voyeurism of that. This movie's gonna be insane. I'm like dying to see it. So Stream is gonna hit theaters August 21st. Make sure to go get your tickets and tell me what you think.
You won't believe this crazy discovery about 9/11. Everybody knows that on September 11th, 2001, the Twin Towers in New York City were struck by 2 airplanes and both towers collapsed to the ground. Thousands of people were killed and the damage was devastating. However, in 2010, workers excavating the crash site discovered something very strange. They discovered the remains of a 30-foot-long wooden boat that was buried underneath the 9/11 rubble. The question soon became, how did a shipwreck end up 22 feet beneath the World Trade Center? Scientists began to research and analyze the wood that was found from the ship. And in 2014, they were able to conclude that the ship was built around the 1770s, around the same time as the Declaration of Independence. And it's believed that the ship was sailing through Lower Manhattan where it sunk. And as New York City began to grow, the city of Manhattan expanded right over the top of the ship.
New fear unlocked. What was on her TV?
So I accidentally fell asleep with YouTube playing on my TV, and it's like the middle of the night, and when I woke up for my dream, this was on my TV. Who are you? Why is that on my TV? When I tell you I just felt pants, I'm not kidding. And I'm missing an earring.
My soul left my body.
Mom.
Do you think skinwalkers are real?
Weird facts you didn't know. Part 10. Your nose can remember 50,000.
Strange facts you should know about. Not being able to find a sexual partner is now a disability. The inventor of Vaseline had a spoonful of the stuff every single day. He lived to the age of 96. Applying sweat from the male underarm to the top of a woman's lip has been shown to reduce stress and improve mood during menstruation. If you have $10 in your pocket and no debt, you are richer than 15% of American households. You can overdose and die from too much coffee. It would take around 100 cups. Watching a scary movie can help burn up to 184 calories in one sitting.
Why does this mountain have stripes? It was called Motto, and its size was approximately 600 feet tall.
Rare things around the world caught on camera. This beach in the Maldives is the only place in the world where the water glows. Now, it doesn't really happen often, but when it does, it looks magical. Next, this 12-year-old girl from Lebanon cries crystals from her eyes. And even after visiting a few doctors, they still have no idea how she does it. And this is what happens when you're cooking and it's super cold. Apparently, a tornado starts forming. Pretty cool. In some parts of India, people cook their food in very hot sand. Now, what I want to know is what happens when sand sticks to your food. Do you just eat it?
Here is what your birthmark says about your past life. And let me know which birthmark you have in the comments. If you don't have a birthmark at all, that either means you've died of natural causes in your past life or you never had a past life. So essentially this is your first life. Basically, you're brand new. If you have a red birthmark anywhere on your body, that means fire had a part to play in taking you out of your last life. If you have a spot on your eye, all I can say is damn, because this is from a spear wound when someone killed you in your sleep. Now, if you have freckles anywhere on your body, that shows you where you've been burned in your past life, and basically serves as a reminder to not make the same mistake again. But tell me, do you have a brown birthmark? If you do, that's the area you were shot in your past life. And every brown birthmark equals another shot. If you have a birthmark on your ear, it means you were incredibly wealthy in your past life. And if you have birthmarks on both your ears, it means you're going to be incredibly successful in this one. And finally, if you have a birthmark on the side of your nose, it means you actually killed someone in your past life because of rage. Everybody with me? Elon!
On November of 1987, police responded to Russell Dardine's home when he failed to report to work. When they got to his home, they discovered the body of his wife and his son, both who had brutal beatings on them. His wife, Ruby, had been beaten so bad she went into premature labor. She was pregnant with their upcoming daughter, and even the premature daughter was beaten too. Obviously, police suspected that it was Russell Dardine because he is suspect number 1, being the spouse. However, that's not the case. His body was then found in a field later that day with his genitals mutilated. The case went cold for almost 15 years until the early 2000s. A serial killer by the name of Tommy Lynn Sells had pled to the killings of the Dardine family. He only pled guilty after he had been sentenced to death for another murder. However, because of the legal system and the restrictions there, police were skeptical about his claims. For this reason, he was never formally charged with the killings of the Dardine family. So officially, the Dardine family killings still remain unsolved to this very day. Do you guys think Tommy Lynn Sells did it, or was he making it up? I have a feeling he did, and then they didn't want to go through the legal paperwork of charging him for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
I'm being serious. If you ever see this at the beach, do not touch it. And if it ever latches onto you like this, get help immediately. Before you do anything else, favorite this video because this could actually save your life one day. Now, at first glance, like me, you would think this is an alien creature from the deepest corners of hell. Whereas in fact, this is actually a detached octopus limb. Now yes, if an octopus's arm becomes disconnected from its body, it does have the ability to live on for a short period of time by itself, explaining why it's able to move like a creature straight out of an alien movie. This of course is absolutely horrifying and a brand new conversation to bring up with your therapist if you saw this going about its business on the beach. Now the suction power of this single arm would be incredibly difficult to remove on your own, because if you didn't know, one suction cup from an octopus can hold up to 35 pounds. And I am talking Great British. And on top of that, hurts. Like really badly. Now this most likely wouldn't make this gentleman a Twitter hashtag. However, I wouldn't like to imagine if this was stuck on a more sensitive part of the body. Like the neck. So here's the best case scenario. You see it, you avoid it, you survive. I'll say this to literally anyone you know because they might need this video one day.
Here's the only way to survive a tsunami. Run the other way. Try and get at least 4 kilometers from the ocean. If you can't do this in time, then try and get 30 meters above sea level. Try to get to the roof of a building with a sturdy concrete foundation. Now if you can't run away in time, or get to the roof of a building 30 meters above sea level, grab something and hold on to it. Many tsunami victims have been saved by holding on to something, such as Petra Nemkova, a supermodel who was saved by holding onto a palm tree. Once the first wave settles, stay in a safe spot. Typically the first tsunami wave isn't the strongest.
This is the disturbing truth about Christmas. This is Black Peter, and he spends the whole year spying on kids, taking note on who has been good and who has been bad. Every single Christmas, Black Peter goes with Santa from house to house, and while Santa gives presents to the good kids, Black Peter punishes the bad ones, and this is what he does to them. At first, he will leave you a bag of twigs and a pile of coal. But if you have been really bad, Black Peter will snatch you from your bed and throw you into a sack. He will then kidnap you and take you to his coal mine, where he will chain you up and make you his slave. You will then work for him for the rest of your life, and if Black Peter ever gets sick of you, he will just simply eat you. So if this doesn't motivate you to make the nice list, then I don't know what will.
Are fairies real?
This the spot. This the spot. Nah, come back out. Look, why you be peeking like that? Peeking. Alright, so look, let me know.
She found a mermaid's purse. Look what this man in Russia found. Do you believe in fairies yet?
This thing just fell out of the sky from nowhere, and now I am convinced that there is such thing as fairies. Like, I'm just on a walk, and I'm on the road, and it just fell in the middle of the road with no trees.
Facebook is under fire for these video games. People are upset at the Facebook advertised mobile game Project Makeover for pushing these inappropriate ads that feature a lot of farting. Furthermore, these ads are misleading because the gameplay is nothing like what you see. Just to be sure, I went and downloaded the game for research purposes, and I'm very disappointed in the fact that I can't sniff any farts in the game.